back to you guys from JB Friends and RV. And I've been mentioning a lot of times about boondocking, and then I started running into some subscribers who were confused on what boondocking was. Maybe they're thinking Boondocking Saints. Maybe one of the best movies ever made. Um, or maybe they're thinking of, the Boondocks, the cartoon. I don't know. So I took for granted that I never really went into an explanation on what boondocking was. So I wanted to take some time and with today's video describe boondocking. I'm also going to go over some tips and some websites that are great resources that I've used in the past. JB, friends, and family, and RV have been boondocking now for close to 15 years. And so we want to share some of the adventures, some of the information that we've learned through our adventures, and lessons learned, in addition to what we have found works the best. And also why boondock? So what is boondocking? Boondocking at its basic is camping, dry camping, basically no hookups. Now a lot of people, when they think of boondocking, they immediately think it means you're at the desert. And not necessarily. Boondocking, dry camping is just you're camping in a RV or a trailer without hookups. So that would include camping in the desert or camping, for example, overnight sleeping like at Walmart. Or even camping for a whole weekend at a casino parking lot. Or some folks call it stealth camping or ninja camping, which I'll go into a little detail. But that was one of the things that drew us to getting a Class A, because Mrs. JB and I, we still like to party and go hard. And the challenge there is we'd have to get like an Uber to go back to the hotel, more additional expense. And we just wanted to go out for a night, shut the club down, and then head home. But we've had maybe some adult beverages. And it's not safe to drive, so then we'd find at the last minute a hotel, overpay, and a lot of times it would not be a good hotel. So this way we can take our house with us with all of our bedding, our extra clothes. We can shower in here, and basically we can stealth camp. So let's say we're headed to a place, for example in Fullerton. We can find either the nearest neighborhood Walmart, the nearest super Walmart that allows overnight RV parking. And as soon as we get out of there, we can Uber back to the RV. We can get a good night's rest. The next morning we could have breakfast in that area and support that business. So if we're at a neighborhood Walmart, then we would go in there and restock up our fridge and then head home safely. So all of those examples are boondocking. It is camping without hookups. The benefits to it is you save money. In the example I just gave you, it's safer, so you're not driving, after you've had some adult beverages. Comfort, the convenience. I mean, we have our own, everything that's ours, we've stocked in here, so we're comfortable. We have our same shampoo in here, our toothpaste, our toothbrushes, additional clothes. Um, that's really helpful, especially if you're trying to have a good time and you're not trying to stress out about those little extra minor details. It's all in your RV. But if every time that you'd have to go to a place, you'd have to find an RV resort or an RV park, that would be a challenge because in some cities, heavily populated, there's not that many, at least not where you're going. In the outskirts, maybe a distance away. So you're better off if you're able to stealth camp. And Mrs. JB and I, there's certain places that we like to go to. So before getting the RV, we looked to see if there were places in the area where you could legally park a vehicle overnight, and then that way we could take advantage of stealth boondocking. Another benefit to boondocking in general is like at RV resorts, they're trying to make the most money they can. They're trying to get their bang for their buck. So they have sometimes some RV resorts, they have you packaged in there like sardines. You're literally right on top of each other. I could be sitting here with Mrs. JB, we're enjoying dinner, and I can tell you what TV show the next RV is watching. I mean, that's how close they'll have you sometimes in there. Compared to if you do boondocking, it could be BLM land, which is Bureau of Land Management, which you're allowed to stay up to 14 days. There are no fees involved. It's completely free. But again, there's no hookups. But if you're able to stay out there, one, you can really choose your neighbors because you invite your friends. Um, the first trip that we took in our RV, we met up with our friends, the Johnsons from Redding, California, down in the desert. And then later that weekend, met with some friends and also with my brother. And it was just us out there. I mean, the spacing in between RVs was extremely large. You could make as much noise as you wanted or keep it as quiet as you wanted. So those are one of the added benefits to boondocking, that you have the space. You also can pick your scenery, right? So it's all wide open. If you wanted to be desert, you can pick that scenery. There's locations that you can go that have trees. Another place that's a favorite of ours is called Jawbone Canyon, Dove Springs. And 10 minutes on the Rhino from there, you are in these huge trees. You're in these switchbacks. There's some cabins up there. We've even gone there when there's snow. So again, really wide open, 100% boondocking. Now, things to consider while boondocking or dry camping or camping without hookups. Three main things you're going to consider, right? So first one will be your water. And what I mean by that is, how much water you have to shower with or to wash dishes with or to wash your hands with. So you got to get better at conserving water, because since there are no hookups, you're not going to receive additional water. You're going to take quick showers. One of the tips that we've learned is that while we're taking a shower, we'll have like a tub at the bottom that'll catch some of that shower water. And I don't want you to think it's something dirty. Like, we're not going to reuse it. But what we're going to do is, instead of allowing that to fill up the gray water tank, we're going to flush it down the toilet. And then that way, we never have ever come close to filling up the black tank. But the gray tank, if we're all showering, could get full pretty quickly. So instead of that occurring, we have a tub there. You take your quick Navy shower and you put the dirty water, you flush it down the toilet. And that way you conserve the amount of resources you have for the water in that gray tank. Gray tank is like soapy water, shower water, dish water, that sort of thing. Same thing with your dishes. You could just fill up the sink. You could let them soak. And then that way it makes it easier to clean. Don't let the water run when you're washing when you're washing the dishes. Don't let it run. Conserve. The second thing to also take into account is your batteries. Now, in the previous RV I had, the boys and I, my sons and I, had gone on the roof and we installed 3 100-watt solar panels. We also installed an inverter, and it helped when we boondocked. I mean, we sometimes would go months, if not years, without using the generator. It just wasn't necessary. As long as the weather was agreeable and we didn't have to use the air conditioner, we could boondock. And that's with Mrs. JB watching her shows, watching her TV. And us watching, football on a Sunday while camping. In this new setup, in this Class A, haven't added solar yet. It is something we're considering. So right now, we really have to conserve when we boondocked, and we've so far already boondocked in the desert, a couple of casino locations, and we've had no issues or concerns with running low on power because we have an onboard generator. So if you don't have solar, the other thing to consider would be to have a generator with you. It'll help. It helps keep your batteries charged up. So those are some things to consider: water, your batteries, and then finally, of course, resources like food, right? If you're somewhere and there are no hookups, you might not be, if you're like in the desert, food, other resources might not be there available. So you just pack and consider how many days you're going to be there, how many meals. We plan all our meals. Mrs. JB is really good about pre-cooking items that she can pre-cook. So then when we're in the RV, we nuke them. To save water, we'll also use paper plates if we're boondocking. If we are in an RV resort, RV camp, we just use all our regular plates, and then we wash them as usual, like we do at home. But while boondocking or dry camping, we're trying to to save and be resourceful with water. So we will instead use paper plates, and if we're in the desert and we have a campfire, then we can dispose of them that way. But something to consider is making sure you have enough food. Make sure you have enough food in the pantry. That way you're not having to do multiple trips. Now let's discuss some good resources for you guys. Boondockerswelcome.com. It's basically free overnight RV parking on private property. There's a membership fee involved. For 1 year, it's $30. For 3-year membership, it's $75. So you would save about 15 bucks, right? It's about $5 per year if you go with a 3-year membership. You log on and then you see availability, and basically you're gonna have free overnight RV parking on someone's property. So someone with some large property, it could be someone's really long driveway. Some will include, power. Some will let you refill water, that sort of thing. Another one is rvwithme.com. And that one is similar to Boondockers, except there's no annual fee. This one is a fee per night. For example, in a highly populated Los Angeles area, they have one, and it describes that pets are allowed. They have garbage bins for you. It's gated property. But for that one, again, there's a fee per night. And in that whole area, there is no RV parks. There's no other real locations. So it's a good resource. Campendium is awesome. It's like a search engine, and it includes RV parks. It'll include public land, like free camping, like BLM land. Where to go for a dump station, and where is free overnight camping. And then finally, freecampsites.net. That one will give you a lot of free locations, a lot of places where you can pay or where a permit is required. The nice thing with the freecampsites.net is that it is updated by users. So it's not all the entries you see in there are submitted by folks who already stayed there and were successful in staying there. We thought, well, let's look at Murrieta, California, and it actually gave you a location in Murrieta, California, and we went to go and inspect and investigate, and yeah, there's a street there. It's well lit. We saw a lot of 18-wheelers, but we did see some RVs, and we even saw like a little car. You can sort of tell these folks are very stealthy living and camping in this little hatchback vehicle. So these are some resources that are out there and that are available to make it easy to see where to boondock. Something as simple, like I said, as Walmart. Now, Walmart has started a trend where 25% of their Walmarts no longer allow overnight RV parking. So out of their 4,000, about 1,000 no longer allow it because they're changing the configuration of the parking lots to take advantage of all that space. And because there's been some other issues as well. Cabela's, which we know here as Bass Pro Shops, is the same company. They allow overnight RV camping. Cracker Barrel, which is mainly a restaurant that we see a little more to the east, they also allow that on their sites. And I'm very excited that we're starting to hear they're coming out west. It'll give us another resource out here in the west. You also, of course, have rest areas, and some even include dump stations. There are also, in addition to your rest areas, you have your pilot, where you can put gas. You have your truck stops. Some of them allow for you to stay there. Additional resources for you to have. If you're planning a really long trip and you're going from point A to point B, and point B is really far, and you're tired, these are websites you can go and you can find out where you can legally go and park, so you don't have to go stealthy or ninja boondocking, but you can legally go and park for the night and catch up on rest and then continue to your ultimate destination. I prefer boondocking. I mean, I do to an RV resort. Because again, one, it's economical, and then two, I just like the space and the freedom of it. You don't have to include that cost into your budget. Do I like staying at RV resorts? Yes, especially, if it's close to a nice town, if we want to go and explore the town, and we want to, leave our vehicle there secure, or RV secure, yeah, we feel good. A lot of times when we go to boondocking in the desert, it's a really large group of us. So it's pretty secure because, someone always stays back at camp. But there's, pros and cons to boondocking. The main thing and main reminder I'm going to give you is to be prepared. If you're prepared with making sure you have enough water, that you're minding your power, right, your electricity, and your food, your resources, you'll have a great adventure boondocking. And you'll be able to save money. It'll extend your RV camping as far as budget goes. And there's a lot more freedom. Typically, when you're boondocking, like for example in BLM land or in the desert, there's no quiet time. There's no lights out time, right? Compared to some RV resorts. So just things to consider. Hopefully I gave you some good resources, and if you have any questions or if you have found some other tips or resources, please leave them below in the comment section. Please comment, like, or unlike, and please subscribe to JB Friends and RV. Thanks.